Peter Obi is still preaching and campaigning long after the elections had ended and a winner declared. It is a shame that Peter Obi will be attacking the Supreme Court. Without the Supreme Court, he won't be who he is today. Because he was a victim of election rigging, the Supreme Court saved him, gave him his mandate. He was a victim of illegal impeachment. Supreme Court saved him, restored his mandate. For the same man to stand before Nigerians and be abusing the Supreme Court the way he's doing is a very shameful thing. And I am personally ashamed of him. Yeah. Because you cannot bring down our Supreme Court in the way that you are doing. You benefited from this same Supreme Court. I'm not surprised that Datti would attack the Supreme Court, because Datti is a certified election rigger. He rigged election against McCarthy, former governor of Kaduna State. The Supreme Court, the courts took that mandate from him and gave it to the rightful owner. So maybe he has not forgiven the Nigerian judiciary for exposing his election rigging and giving it to the man who duly won the election. That is Ahmed Mohamed McCarthy, former governor of Kaduna State, former chairman of the Senate Committee on Finance. So I can understand if somebody like Datti continues to abuse the the judiciary, because the judiciary took away what was not rightfully his and gave it to the person who duly won the election. And since that time, he has not managed to win an election in our country. During this last election in Zaria, where he hails from, he was defeated in his polling unit. A man who was defeated in his polling unit coming out to say that INEC shut down IREF at a point when Labour Party was leading. That is 24 carats dishonesty, and he knows it. Mm-hmm. It's 24 carats dishonesty. Labour Party was not leading. Labour Party did not win the election. You can continue to mislead your supporters, but you can't mislead the whole of Nigeria. Labour Party could not have won the election, and you didn't win the election. So Nigerians, as far as they are concerned, this election has been won and lost, decided. We have to move forward, trying to rile up our people against constituted authority, saying all sorts of things, even about things that he knows little or nothing about. He was saying that the killing of Nigerian soldiers in Niger State was unprecedented. What does Datti know about security in our country? What does he know about Boko Haram insurgency? I am in the Northeast as we speak. In one day, in a town called Gudumbali, in Guzamala local government area of Borno State, Boko Haram killed more than 120 soldiers. The plaque in honor of those soldiers, with their names to remember, to honor them, is still there. So how can soldiers less than 30 be killed in a place, and you are now saying it's the worst? You are giving the impression that it's the worst in our history. What do you know about security in our country? How many places have you been to?
Yeah, Jide.
Have you been to the war-torn areas? Have you been there? Have you entered Sambisa? Some of us have entered Sambisa before.
All right.
Have you been there?
Jide, it is their right so to kick. They have
no,
the right to kick.
It is their right to speak, but it is their right. They must make sense.
Exactly.
They must make sense. I can tell you some of what people say, trying to turn Nigerians against one another. It can't be tolerated in other countries. How did the killings, the pogrom in Rwanda begin? You could argue that those people too had the right to talk. Mm. But when you talk, you must talk with common sense. You must make sense. You must not say things suggesting that you want to incite Nigerians against the government or incite Nigerians against one another. Long after the birds had flown, long after the elections had held, an election in which you fail to win your own polling units.
All right.
That means you don't have electoral value. Why should somebody be inciting Nigerians against one another at this stage? This was the same man who was intimidating judges the other day and told them not to go for the inauguration on May 29. Is it right? Have you ever heard anybody speak like that? In all your years of journalism, have you heard where somebody was telling judges not to attend the inauguration? But this was the same thing that Datti did. So it deserves to be corrected. If he doesn't know that it is wrong, it deserves to be corrected, and that's what I'm doing.
Welcome to my channel, where we discuss everything and all things politics, economy, and development. TVC's Babajide Otitoju, his condescending attack on the vice presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the last presidential election is really uncalled for. He was deliberate in an effort to belittle the vice presidential candidate of the Labour Party because of the interview Datti Baba-Ahmed granted Arise TV. And the way he reacted, that to me was not an analysis. It was a talk down on Datti Baba-Ahmed. And there is no proof that he knows better than Datti Baba-Ahmed in several fronts because of the way he was talking so authoritatively. I had to go and check out Babajide Otitoju. And in his digital footprint, I didn't see much to indicate that he is better in any way, in any shape or form, more than Datti Baba-Ahmed. The only thing I could see was that he had been practicing journalism perhaps since 1992 or thereabout. Even his academic records was not much that one can talk about. They didn't talk about his academic I couldn't see his academic qualification. I only saw a place where they wrote that he got diploma in history, and then that he did youth service. I don't even know how somebody that did diploma would do service, but that's by the way. So the way he talks. So I wanted to find out what makes him think he knows more than Datti Baba-Ahmed, even if it is in the area of security he was talking about. That Datti Baba-Ahmed knows nothing about security, knows nothing about what is going on with Boko Haram. That Datti Baba-Ahmed was totally wrong to talk about the fact that 26 soldiers were killed in Niger State, and it was unprecedented. So for somebody who as popular as Babajide Otitoju, I had expected his digital footprint in terms of academic prowess would be something that is interesting. I didn't say much, but when you go and check out Dr. Datti Baba-Ahmed, you find out that he's well schooled. He holds masters. He holds bachelor's degree. He holds a PhD. And not just in any degree, in economics. He was the person that established the first data company in Nigeria. So being somebody who established a data company in Nigeria, it means that Datti Baba-Ahmed is conversant with numbers and figures. So there is nothing that Babajide Otitoju, a journalist, can teach him about data, figures, in terms of the number of deaths that has been generated as a result of Boko Haram insurgency. And even the Babajide Otitoju was mentioning, he mentioned a place in Meduguri, where he said that they killed 126 soldiers or thereabouts, or 120 soldiers. And when I googled that particular name, in fact, I tried to find any digital footprint where it was reported in the media or something like that. There was nothing there. There was nowhere where they showed that in one battle between Boko Haram and Nigerian military, they killed 100 or up to 120 soldiers of the Nigerian army. Why is it that it was not reported in any print media? It was not reported in any media, local or international. I would have seen it. You can go and Google it yourself. Yet he was talking with Babajide Otitoju was talking with authority that the vice presidential candidate of the Labour Party doesn't know what he's talking about. And it's quite unfair because what he did was not actually an analysis. He literally wants Dr. Datti Baba-Ahmed to shut up, not to say anything. And that is not what democracy is all about. That's not what democracy is all about. Democracy is the right of people to express their own views. That's part of the tenets of democracy, freedom of expression. And you can see how he put down even Peter Obi. Said that Peter Obi is still preaching and campaigning long after the elections had ended. So if the election has ended, people have no right to talk about the injustice they believe they suffered. And he was blackmailing Peter Obi, that Peter Obi was attacking the Supreme Court, telling us that, as if we don't know, that it was through the Supreme Court that he was able to get his mandate back. There was nowhere that Peter Obi was attacking the Supreme Court. In any case, what did Peter Obi say that was even closer to what the retired Justice Datti Baba-Ahmed said about the judiciary, the corruption in the judiciary? So that why didn't he condemn that retired Justice Datti, who talked about the mess that the Supreme Court is in, who talked about that the Supreme Court he joined is different from what he is seeing now before he left. In any case, it was a different Supreme Court that granted Peter Obi justice. Could Peter Obi have gotten a justice in this present Supreme Court? Could he? That's $1 million question. If Peter Obi's matter was to be adjudicated in this present Supreme Court, would they have given him justice that the previous Supreme Court gave him? In any case, Peter Obi has never attacked the judiciary, but he pointed out the flaws in the judgment they gave, which is his right to do so. He pointed out the fact that they ignored in coming to the conclusion that Bola Ahmed Tinubu won the election and therefore upheld the verdict of the presidential election petition tribunal. He has the right to point out those flaws, and he's not the only person that had done so. Legal luminaries pointed out, even the retired Justice Datti made it clear that there was injustice, deliberate, in not having Southeast being represented in that presidential election petition matter. North Central not being represented. Why didn't Babajide Otitoju call that it was an attack on the Supreme Court. If what Datti did was not an attack on the Supreme Court, why should what Peter Obi said at the World Press Conference be termed as an attack on the judiciary? That's the hypocrisy in what Babajide or Otitoju was talking about. He said that the Supreme Court saved Peter Obi. Yes, they saved Peter Obi, but not the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court includes somebody that came forth, emerged the winner of a governorship election in Imo State. Could it have given justice to Peter Obi? The Supreme Court includes somebody that did not participate in senatorial primaries, emerged senatorial candidate. Somebody that contested for presidential ticket of the APC, went back and picked a ticket for Senate. 2 persons, and both of them are now in the Senate. They contested for presidential ticket of the APC. They didn't participate in the primaries, but the Supreme Court handed them a ticket, handed them tickets, and now they are in the Senate. One of them is a principal officer. So in that kind of Supreme Court, this kind of Supreme Court, do you think that Peter Obi would have gotten justice? Then he went on to talk about that he is ashamed of Peter Obi. In fact, Babajide Otitoju didn't know that Nigerians will be ashamed of him. Most Nigerians will be ashamed of him for saying that kind of thing about Peter Obi. That he's ashamed of Peter Obi. It is he that Nigerians will be ashamed of. That a journalist who claimed to be veteran and everything else could be able to close his eyes and would not speak truth to power. And he was picking and choosing what issue to talk about. Why didn't he talk about what Datti Baba-Ahmed said about certificate forgery? What he said about the forfeiture of $460,000 to the United States government, process of narcotic. Why did he pick? He picked areas to talk about. Claiming that Datti Baba-Ahmed also attacked, that he was not surprised that Datti Baba-Ahmed attacked the Supreme Court because Datti Baba-Ahmed is a certified election rigger. And you asked for his proof. He said Datti Baba-Ahmed rigged the election in 2011. And when I check out the matter, that time, Datti Baba-Ahmed was in CPC, a very small party, a new party. So how could CPC, in reality, rig election in Kaduna State, Kaduna North, where the person he is contesting against is McCarthy, former governor of the state, with the rigging machinery of the PDP at that time. It is CPC man. CPC. And when I look at it, it was CPC that McCarthy petitioned that they rigged the election. He didn't mention that Datti Baba-Ahmed rigged it. They said the CPC in the petition. It was CPC, the party. And in any case, I found it strange because I don't see, it's just like somebody in this last election saying that a Labour Party rigged the election. What capacity do the Labour Party have to rig an election in 2023? It was the PDP that could have rigged the election. In any case, whatever may be the case, it was INEC that declared Datti Baba-Ahmed winner. This man, McCarthy, went to court, and one of the things he alleged was that there was election rigging. But that is not enough for you to say that Datti Baba-Ahmed was a certified election rigger. It has been unfair. It's insultive. to say that it's insulting to talk about that Datti Baba-Ahmed is a certified election rigger because the Supreme Court gave a verdict. And what was the verdict? The Supreme Court ordered that there should be recounting of the vote. And after the recounting of the votes, they declared Datti Baba-Ahmed. They declared McCarthy as the winner of the senatorial district. And you don't forget that you can imagine how many years was Datti Baba-Ahmed. Datti Baba-Ahmed was a very young person at that time to compete for senatorial seat with a governor, a former governor of a state, Kaduna State. And he was able to defeat the man. And you think it's a small thing. Then maybe at the end of the day, with all kind of manipulation of the PDP, they might have manipulated both the judicial and everything else. And they took away the mandate from the young man because they know they can do it and nothing will happen. And that's what gave Babajide Otitoju the right to say that he's a certified election rigger. But his principal, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is not a certified election rigger. He's not a certified election rigger. He's a saint. He went on to say that that he's sure that Datti Baba-Ahmed has not forgiven the judiciary for taking his mandate away from him. That's to me, that's utter rubbish. I had expected him to say something reasonable. And he was saying that there's no way Labour Party could have won the election. Well, Datti Baba-Ahmed has said that they won the election. And they say that one of the things that the APC did was to shut down the IRIF when they saw that Labour Party was winning. And Babajide Otitoju was insisting that they didn't win. I've seen a video where he says he's ready to swear. He was ready to swear that Tinubu won the election. He would just die for nothing if he really swear. How can he swear? So he was being too emotional. He's too invested his emotion in it. So what he does in terms of this election was not an analysis. It was just an emotional exhibition of his wishes. He said that Datti Baba-Ahmed was defeated at his polling unit. Is Datti Baba-Ahmed the only person that was defeated in his polling unit? Even the national chairman of the APC and several other people were defeated in their polling units. Does that make them that they are not relevant? Say because they are defeated, they were not relevant. Even Obasanjo, in all his glory, he lost in his polling unit during the 1999 presidential election. So what's the big deal about that? Does that make Obasanjo a lesser personality, a lesser politician than others? Does that make him inferior to others? The truth of the matter remains that Datti Baba-Ahmed believed that they were robbed, and you cannot shut them up for saying how they feel. And he accused them of incitement. He said that what Datti Baba-Ahmed was doing was incitement, inciting the people against the government of the day. So a criticism of the government of the day has become instrument of accusing people of incitement. Then it means nobody will talk about any government at all. When you are government in power, nobody should criticize you. Datti Baba-Ahmed has said his own part, that they were robbed, that people should take back their country. It is now left for the Nigerian people to take back their country. Taking back their country doesn't mean violence. It could be peaceful process. Doing organized demonstration to draw attention to what they feel they were robbed of. It's done all over the world. And then he was saying that that was how Rwanda genocide. But Babajide Otitoju kept his mouth shut when Bayo Nanoga were calling out, we are raising issues and saying all kinds of things about people of Igbo extraction in Lagos politics. The violence that was meted out to them, did we hear anything from Babajide Otitoju? Because that was a classic case that was degenerating to the level of Rwanda genocide. If not that, it was halted. Not by Tinubu or anybody, but by common sense of ordinary people to keep aware. And at the end of the day, APC got what they want. They were able to use violence and intimidation to retain Lagos State governorship seat. Where was Babajide Otitoju? Why didn't he remember the Rwanda genocide when they were telling people of Igbo extraction they should not come out to vote in Lagos, and doing all kinds of intimidations against them? That time, Babajide Otitoju and his principal, they were quiet. Even Tinubu didn't say anything. There is no record of him speaking at that time. It was after the election, when they had pocketed the Lagos State governorship seat, that Tinubu began to talk. What did Babajide Otitoju do at that time? So he has no stand to talk about that. This man, Datti Baba-Ahmed, is instigating, protests or incitement against the government of the day. The government of the day in a democracy should be ready to be criticized, should be ready to be protested against on the streets. It's happening everywhere. In Washington, D.C., in the streets of London, people protest until they get what they want. And Datti Baba-Ahmed has a right to insist that they won the election. And they are in a better position to know about the election more than Babajide Otitoju, because they have independent verifications. What does Babajide Otitoju have? Because he's a journalist. Does that give him mileage, better mileage than the candidates that are involved in the matter directly? So he just was being emotional, and he cannot convince anybody that Datti Baba-Ahmed was not saying the truth. Because I had expected him to be level-headed and give reasons why Datti Baba-Ahmed was wrong. But he was all emotional. He said there is no way that Labour Party could have won the election. Well, they said they won the election. They even presented facts and figures to show that they won the election, both at the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal and the Supreme Court. And these two courts disregarded the figures they brought, but they were able to approve the dubious figures of INEC, which INEC could not tell us how they get the results. As I'm talking to you, INEC has not released polling unit by polling unit result to show how the presidential election result emanated, how they were able to arrive to the figure that Bola Ahmed Tinubu scored 8.7 million votes. This is despite the fact that Labour Party star witness, a professor of mathematics, was able to show that 2.5 million votes was allegedly illegally allocated to Bola Ahmed Tinubu through blood result sheets that nothing was readable on it. So people who have these facts, they have a right to say it. If the Supreme Court disregard it, they have a right to tell it to the Nigerian people, to remind them, so that history will take note of it, that they were robbed, that they were denied the opportunity to serve the country legitimately through the ballot box. And I don't think that Babajide Otitoju can shut them up. He has a right to defend his principle, but he has to do it in a civil way. And he has to be able to be convincing. Because at the end of the day, go and check the response of Nigerians to the interview that Datti Baba-Ahmed granted TVC. That interview is the most watched interview in Nigeria's political history. Go and check the comment there, the thousands of comments there. Go to TVC, go to Babajide Otitoju's journalist hangout. How many Nigerians comment on what they are doing there compared to the kind of traction that Datti Baba-Ahmed got? And most of the comments were positive. Most of the comments were in agreement with Datti Baba-Ahmed. So what is Babajide Otitoju talking about? He thinks he knows more than those thousands of Nigerians that were commenting in commendation of Datti Baba-Ahmed, agreeing with him that they won the election. Thank you for watching this video. And if you are new to my channel, you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. Hit the subscription button, hit the notification bell. When you subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell, anytime I have a new video, you'll be among the first to know. God bless you. And please don't forget to like this video, because when you like it, God will rank it high and recommend it for more people. Thank you, and God bless you and yours.